Today's episode of Chat and Chew is sponsored by Be Positive Productions and Multimedia Studios, LLC. I like to think of imagination as something akin to a superpower. Used in the right context for good, it can help bolster our aspirations and propel us closer to our goals. We visualize the outcome of our accomplishments and work toward attaining said thing. However, when used to propagate untruths, reality can become distorted. We no longer know what's real and what's not. The more often we repeat something to ourselves, the more likely it is to become our truth, and the lines between perception and reality begin to blur. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
Have you ever considered the value of your God-given gifts? What if I told you you were worth at least $1 million? Join us Sunday, October the 27th at Christ Worship Center for an incredible two services, 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. with Pastor Ricky Harold and Dr. Brenda Harold. My name is Dr. Glenn Warren, and I'll be sharing thoughts from the Word of God of the power of your talent, how to multiply your gift, sow into your future, and open doors you never thought possible. Whether you are in a business, ministry, or pursuing of your personal dream, your gifts and your talent are designed to grow, to bring you abundance, and just as equally importantly, be a blessing to others. This is your moment to unlock your potential. Invite your family and friends and come to discover the true value of the gifts God placed inside of you. You have the gift, now it's time to multiply them. Look at your neighbor and tell them, I am worth at least $1 million.
Fathers Forever is a nonpartisan organization supporting fathers and families. We welcome all 2024 mayoral candidates to share their platforms on our podcast, fostering open dialogue on important community issues.
Once again, thank you for joining our podcast. I am Dr. Glenn Warren, and I'm excited about our guest we have in our studio today, Mr. Eugene Myrick. He is a candidate for mayor, and we're going to have a discussion today about his plans.
Yes.
If he's elected mayor, what he wants to do to help us be a better community. We deal with a lot of issues, housing, parenting, fathers, all those good things we're going to talk about. And I'm very excited to welcome him.
Thanks for having me.
With us.
Thanks for having me. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it.
Yes. I understand that, and I'm not going to hold this against you. I told you that earlier, that he went to Shaw University. Of course, I'm a faculty, and, sometimes there's a little bit of rivalry blood there, but I won't hold it against him. And so I want to tell the audience about who Mr. Myrick is.
Okay, so my name is Eugene Myrick.
Okay.
I came to Raleigh in 1990 to attend Shaw University. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Came to Shaw I graduated in 1994. And upon graduation, I actually worked in the Wake County Public School System. And working in the Wake County Public School System, I worked with students that were residents of Dorothea Dix Hospital.
Really?
So a lot of people don't know that. For those that don't know, Dorothea Dix was a mental health institution.
Yes.
And it has since been closed down.
Yes.
308 acres and turned into a park. Yes. But just to get into a little bit more of my bio, I ended up going back to New York and I taught special education for 7 years.
Okay.
And it's burnt out, just the lack of support, being a special needs teacher. So I got into broadcast radio.
Okay.
Broadcast radio is kind of like sports. You go where you get the best contract. So that's taken us from New York to LA, Chicago, Boston, Pittsburgh, but I've always had an eye on getting back to Raleigh.
Okay.
And came back to Raleigh in 2018, purchased a home in a historic Biltmore Hills neighborhood.
Yes.
Biltmore Hills, which is one of the neighborhoods where Black people were allowed to purchase homes in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it because I tell folks I don't live on Fitzgerald Drive. I live on Ella Fitzgerald Drive because all of the streets are named after famous Black people.
Yes.
So, but that's just a little bit of my bio. But
Right. Are you married? You got kids?
I'm married. We have three beautiful children.
Okay. What's the age?
Well, our twins will be 30
Really?
at this month, and the youngest will be 29 in December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool, man. So, growing up, I grew up, I went to sing always.
Right.
And I got out and started, I wanted to be a coach.
Mm.
And I worked in the school system, Wake County school system
Mm-hmm.
for a very short time. And then I got a job working with the disabled, disability kids with MR. And so I got into social work and I just kind of left teaching to the side. So what I've been doing for the last, until I retired for Wake County was working with social workers, people with SPMI,
Mm-hmm.
special needs, mental retarded, mental illness, schizophrenia, paranoid, substance abuse. So we share some of those things together. Growing up,
That's not an easy job, so that's commendable.
yes, I mean, it's really, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And, I love doing the counseling. I love doing the talking. And one of the things that kind of got me into the field that I'm doing now is working with men and women, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I sit down and did the biosocial about their life, a lot of times when I ask them about their fathers, that box was unchecked. So they grew up in a household without their dad.
Right.
So that kind of steered me into wanting to, to provide for a space for people to learn how to be
Right.
their dad. I grew up with my dad. I had an excellent dad. Some people get motivated to start nonprofits or whatever because of a bad experience.
Mm.
And that's okay. And some people get motivated because of a good experience.
Right.
I was motivated because I had a good father,
There you
a
go.
very good father.
Yeah.
And then I was married for a long time, 15 years.
Mm.
And my ex-wife and I decided we were divorced. Then I became a single father
Mm-hmm.
for 7, 9, and 11.
Wow.
Raising my kids.
Right.
And then I worked in a system where a lot of my clients grew up without their dad.
Right.
And I've seen the devastation, the substance abuse, the anger issue,
Right.
all that comes along with growing up without a father. And
Yeah.
I decided I want to do something.
That's commendable. And see, I look at it even differently because my parents separated when I was small as well. But I have a huge family, and it's like my grandparents had 13 kids in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So my mother is the oldest of the daughters, but she has 4 older brothers.
Wow.
And so my parents separated, but my uncles was always there. So we always had a father figure.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't, and I always looked at them as that. They're my uncles,
Yeah.
but they pretty much they played a
exactly.
huge role
Yeah.
in my upbringing. So
Yeah.
I truly understand it. And that's why I tell a lot of folks, I say I don't have a sob story. Even coming from my neighborhood in East New York, Brooklyn,
Right.
I don't have a sob story
Right.
because I grew up with a good foundation.
Yeah. And one of my grandsons' father's out in his life, but he's got his uncles, he's got
Right.
his brothers,
Right.
me, and he's got his other uncles, and we together create that because some people the father passed away.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons why father's not there.
Right.
And so when they're not there has to be somebody to fill in that gap. And
Right.
oftentimes it is the uncles and other people in
Right.
the community that make that happen now.
Right.
And so we kind of started Fathers Forever. Now, I kind of went to your website
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at some things that, the first question I wanted to really ask you how did your decision making as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
how did your upbringing influence your ability to help people?
Well, it's interesting because coming up, I didn't even understand. Like my mom always told us we couldn't go to somebody else's house, and I couldn't understand why. But we was always allowed to have people come to our house. But our home was a safe place. And when I got a little bit older, even when when your parents tell you not to do something, and then
Right.
I'm like, well, I want to go to my friend's house
Right.
anyway. And then you realize that some people didn't have furniture in their home. You know what I'm saying? And I always wonder, like, why you always offering my friends dinner, but I can't go to their house and eat dinner. But sometimes folks were struggling to have dinner, and you don't quite understand that. So just knowing that my family has always been nurturing, and I couldn't quite understand. It's like there's a lot of Myrick's in Brooklyn, and usually back in the day when they have phone books, I'm 52, so I remember the phone books. But when you went through the phone book, every Myrick was somebody in my family. Really? And we always have, it's always a funny story. Like all of my parents, my uncles and aunts, all of our childhood friends, they still gravitate toward my family. So we really call them cousins. We call their kids cousins. But it's just one of those things that I've always had a support system, and I've always wanted to help even my friends that didn't have. You know what I'm saying? My family was always helping somebody else. Right. So it just was quite naturally, the older I got, to want to help. And that's just came from my upbringing.
Right. So as a family man, you have a big family. How did that affect your decision and making policies that affect citizens in the Raleigh area?
It's interesting because I tell people all the time, my mother gave me the two most stereotypical names in the world. Eugene, that's the nerdy name. And I was the smartest in my class to high school. And my other name is Pookie. I don't care what hood you go to, they know Pookie.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tell people Pookie is good in any hood.
Right.
So everywhere I went, even when we worked in radio, and I tell this story all the time. The station where I was at, they had ties to a law firm, and they had a suite where with the Clippers. This was before they was Lob City. Okay. So it was just us and Billy Crystal at the Clippers games back then. But they had a suite, and they used to have all of this food, but you used to have to pass Skid Row to get to the game. So at the end of the day, we would take that food and pass it out at Skid Row. We would just ask them, "Don't throw this away, wrap it up." And it's just one of those things, once again, where everywhere we went, we always wanted to help. So coming back to Raleigh in 2018, we were looking for a place to stay. I'm like, I run to my people. I don't run from them. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So we literally purchased a home, I think in 2018 in Biltmore Hills for $130,000. That's unfathomable right now. And just being there in Biltmore Hills, how I ended up getting into this race, I literally saw one of my neighbors who's an 80-year-old man. Our house kind of sits up on a higher hill. I saw this man like trying to push water down the hill. So I went down there and I noticed both our sewers were flooded. And one of the issues that we have in the neighborhood was flooding. So that was the first issue that I started going to City Hall about. Like, listen, you have all of these seniors, because there's still a lot of original homeowners in Biltmore Hills. I think my neighbor's like 82 years old now. And he's so neighborly, I come down the hill to bring my garbage can to get picked up. Before I can get there, as soon as the garbage man comes, he's bringing it back up the hill. So that's the community that still exists in Biltmore Hills. Right. And from that one issue of going to ask, what's going on with our flooding system, then I started finding out about the tax issues and started looking at how our taxes was going up and doubling and things like that. And then there were several other issues. We don't have bus shelters in our neighborhood. We really don't have sidewalks in Biltmore Hills. So it was just a number of issues that I started learning about and going to City Hall and speaking up about and just feeling like nobody's listening. So those are issues that got me here now, where I said, you know what? If y'all don't want to listen, I'm going to make you listen, or I'm going to take that seat. Right.
So I read that you did a lot of work with the CAC. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
Well, the Citizen Advisory Committee Council, they broke those up.
Yes.
They broke those up. And for those that don't know, Citizen Advisory Councils, those were kind of like, before a developer can build in a neighborhood, you had to go to the CAC. It wasn't law, but it was a recommendation. Right. But you had to go through the CAC first, then you went to the Planning Commission, and then you went to City Council to get voted on. Well, they broke up the CACs, and so I never was officially a part of a CAC. So I've attended meetings now. There's a gentleman named Dr. Lane. Although they were dispersed, he continued the Southeast CAC. So they continue to meet. And this is how I learned about not just my neighborhood of Biltmore Hills, but the surrounding neighborhoods in Southeast Raleigh and some of the things that's going on. So the current city council voted to bring them back, but without the voting power to determine what goes on in your neighborhood.
Wow. So
Yeah.
they're down, but you
Right.
don't have a whole lot of teeth now.
No. Right. So one of my goals is to bring that back with that voting power to determine what goes on in your neighborhood. Because if you think about it, like our neighborhood is off of Garner Road, and I'm quite sure you're familiar. You have that Walnut Creek.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why we're flooding on that side of town. So that's why a lot of the development that's going on, which is literally on the other side of the tracks, will continue to flood us out. And why CACs need this type of power is right now there's 100 townhouses going up on one side of Garner Road. And now a developer wants to build another 100 on the other side. Garner Road is only 2 lanes. And the entrances will be in the middle of the block. So this starts to affect your quality of life. This when you start putting concrete over the trees and the grass, that continues to add on to the flooding. So that's one of the reasons why the CACs need to come back, but come back with the voting power for the neighborhoods.
Okay. So one of the things that you want to do is to make as mayor is to help get that back
right
to the community.
So they were voted to come back, but without the power that they had in the past. But I think that's the type of power that the community needs.
Right. So when I looked at your website and tell us about what is LEAD?
LEAD is that's my acronym for leadership, empathy, accountability, and diversity. And right now we're lacking in leadership in the city. This mayor she's just currently beholden to the developers. There's just nowhere. I always say when you want to see who somebody's going to represent, look at who gives them money. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of the dollars are coming from developers. And the developers is basically run roughshod over the city. You have a bunch of high-rise buildings that are empty. But to just go through the acronyms, we need leadership to be able to stand up to the developers. So, because right now, city councils say, well, we can't developers tell them what to do with their thing, but you could tell them no. And then the other, from leadership, you go to empathy. This goes back to me saying, one of the things I never thought I would see in Raleigh is so much homelessness, the unhoused population. The most heartbreaking thing I've seen in LA was Skid Row. But now we have many Skid Rows. Every other exit, we have homeless encampments on the side of the road. So we need empathy to be able to deal with that issue properly. Right. And then you need accountability. We had one city councilman say, listen, we don't have the budget to increase the number of city council members. City council members only making $29,000. It's considered a part-time job. So he didn't want to increase to 3 more city council members, but they came up with $100,000 for a dog park downtown. And it's a dog park with a fence and mulch, $100,000. So that's accountability. In addition to one of the problems that they created in the city, they created something called sip and stroll. You can now leave a bar or a club with an alcoholic beverage. So Glenwood Avenue, crime went up. So instead of saying we might need to rescind this, they decided to give $3.2 million for private police. So that's not being accountable for our funds. And then diversity. You just need a different level when it comes to leadership, when it comes to policing. You need different ideas. And not just diversity in regards to racial or ethnic, but diversifying our land. Folks want to diversify assets. Why don't we diversify this land? Like I said, Dix Park is 308 acres. We could have took at least 10% of that and went back and created a mental health facility. Take 30 acres, 15 for mental health facility, 15 for affordable housing. So that's my acronym. LEAD is my acronym for leadership, empathy, accountability, and diversity.
So what are some of your plans or your policies that will help support it? There's a lot of housing issues in Wake County. Unaffordable housing is it's up, it's really up. And not just think about the people that's, when you got the mental health people, you got people who returning back from incarceration, they can't afford housing. What are some of the things that you like for Raleigh to see that help us with this issue with affordable housing? So again, one of the issues that we're dealing with in Raleigh is the city is based off of the county narrative of area median income. They say AMI. Well, the area median income is $115,000.
and they're basing affordability off of the area median income, 30%. That's around $2,900. Everybody's not making that. First of all, that's unaffordable. Right. Even if you go down to teachers, they're making less than $50,000. Police are making less than $55,000. So to say $2,900 is affordable is unrealistic. I'm focusing more on a neighborhood median income. Like, say you have a neighborhood like mine, Biltmore Hills, you have a lot of seniors. You have some retired state workers and city workers. How about you come through my neighborhood? Even the apartment complex in Biltmore Hills was just recently sold. And I said, before they move those folks out and try to upzone, which is the narrative, we need to upzone, we need more density. How about you take, get the average median income of the folks that live there now? Because if you get their average median income, then we can do income-based housing so they can have a place to live. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't see it done. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when I graduated from Shaw, I went back and I taught in New York for 7 years, special education, but I also worked for a city councilman named Charles Barron. He's a direct disciple of a gentleman named Reverend Youngblood. Mm-hmm. The churches in New York, they created an organization and they got land from city for $1. They built housing and they created affordable housing based off individuals' income. So it didn't even fall on the city. I've literally seen this done. My neighborhood was revitalized in East New York, Brooklyn, from the church, actually, not the city. And there are several other organizations that implemented this. You have Reverend Floyd Flake with Allen AME in Queens, Reverend Calvin Butts, Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem. Abyssinian literally created the Abyssinian Development Corporation to build houses and low-income housing. So I've literally seen these things done where the narrative is now 100% affordability because the housing is based off of 30% of your income, not the area median income.
Right.
And this can be done in Raleigh, but you have to have the leadership that want to do it.
Right. So when you talk about reentry,
mm-hmm.
housing is another major issue.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of policy do you see Wake County put into place to help returning citizens back to the community when they've done their time?
Right.
You know, they went to prison or whatever. Now they're coming back to the community, and sometimes there's very, very little resources
mm-hmm.
to help them get back on the feet. What do you think? What are some of the things that Wake County can do or Raleigh can do to help that?
Well, we need to partner with organizations like yours. Like this is, and I'm literally just learning about it, but this is so powerful, and this is what's needed because even like one of the issues I know that the folks are going to face and off of where they're moving the amphitheater to now, because they want to move them out like they did the people at Chavis. We're going to move you out, move you back in. But one of the issues, then they had to get a criminal background check. Then they had to go through credit reports,
yes,
and things like that. But I know there's a Second Chance Initiative, mm-hmm. which are some of the programs that are trying to wipe out some of those things. Mm-hmm. But I believe I just learned a term here today when I came in. It wasn't formally incarcerated. I think it was justice served.
Justice served. Yes.
And that's the perfect way to look at it.
Right.
If it was justice served, then they should have the opportunity to be able to qualify for some of this housing. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, a lot of our guys come back. You know, we have a reentry where we have 38 beds in Wake County. Guys coming back from prison, and they're in our facility for 90 days. And we help them get jobs and help them get back with their family reunification.
Nice.
We do a lot of classes with that. Employment is a major thing.
Right.
We try to help them, get jobs, and for the most part, they do really well. But there's a lot of barriers there.
Right.
To help them. And one of the issues that we talk about, and I want to get your take on this, fentanyl, which is a major problem.
Right.
Not only in Wake County, but across the nation.
Right. Right.
But let's focus on Wake County.
Right.
What are some of the things that we can do to help these people who are not just people incarcerated, but folks that are struggling with drugs and alcohol, for the beginning. And now that fentanyl has come in,
right,
and it's so deadly. I mean, that people are mixing fentanyl now with pills and with weed and everything is
right.
now with it laced by fentanyl, and people sometimes don't even know
right.
that they're smoking fentanyl
right.
until
right.
the bad thing happens to them.
Right. Well, it's ironic because I I'm literally just learning. One of the community centers where I used to volunteer at, it was called Going Places on Garner Road. And from my time in school, when I used to volunteer there, now that is a drug treatment center. And so I see this daily because it's right off Garner Road. I have to pass it. I have to pass this every day. And so I see the effects of it. And I just think that the work that you all are doing is just incredible. On my end, as far as the mayor of the city, and I want you to understand also, the mayor is just one vote.
Right.
This is really a city that's run, and it's a great title, and it gives you the bully pulpit. But this is a city that's run by the city manager. Like the police chief, as well as the fire chief, they actually report to the city manager. So what I can do in that position, like I said, I have the bully pulpit. Even this is the only county, the only city where every 100 counties are represented downtown at the state legislature. So what I can do as the mayor is use that bully pulpit to go and speak out at the state legislature to let them know the type of resources and whatever type of funding that we need to help fight against the fentanyl crisis that we're dealing with in the city.
Right. So we deal with a lot of fathers. Our forever is our name, obviously. And so there's not a lot of resources when it comes down to men in general.
Right.
If you got 4 nonprofits, one is the fatherhood program, one is a animal program, 501c, one is the kids, and one is moms. Which one you think will get the most money the first?
Probably the moms.
Then probably the animal.
Oh, yes.
The animal's going to get the money by far.
You're right. You're right.
They're going to get.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, it's going to be the animal.
I stand
then
corrected.
It's going to be maybe the kids. Toss up between the mom and kids. Most of the time, it's the animal people, then the kids, then the moms. If there's any left,
yeah, I agree with that.
Father program gets it.
I agree with that.
And it's kind of like we got to count backwards.
Right.
If we focus a lot on the cleanup, the aftermath of fatherlessness, we got to do that. We got to fix that. But we don't focus on the prevention.
Right.
We don't focus on the intervention.
Right.
In Wake County, I'm sure there's probably, I think it's 25 or 30 ABC stores. And I mean, whether you drink alcohol or not, you know what is an ABC store.
Right. Right.
There's 4 or 5 fatherhood programs. If there's that many. What if we had 25 fatherhood programs that's there to help fathers get back on track?
Right.
We're telling the father, number one, it's okay to get help.
Right.
And the community is there to help you.
Right.
My point is, what can we do to ensure that fathers now are getting the help they need to raise their family? Because a friend of mine, she got pregnant and, she went out and they gave her some money to go to school. They gave her some money for the daycare. They gave her money to all this stuff. She went back to school and became a nurse. And I asked the question, what did you do for the father? What did you do for that man who impregnated that girl? Right. You told him to go get a job. And he needs to get a job. Right. But why didn't you offer him the same resources that you did her? Now he could take care of his son. Right. He just fathered. But there's the resources is not there because fatherhood is at the bottom, it's the lowest. What could we do what could you do as the bully pulpit that to sound the alarm that we only not need to work on the clean up the aftermath, but also on the intervention?
One of the things we need to do is let them know, let everybody know that these services are needed. We have to let folks know that they are needed. And like a lot of folks don't know, like me and my wife, I was originally a single dad for a while. I separated with my original spouse. And when I was teaching, if it wasn't for my mother, that was the help that I needed at the time. Right. I didn't know how to raise 2 little girls. I had twin daughters. I had to learn that they can't use the same Irish Spring soap that I need. A little, you know what I'm saying? The sensitive skin, sensitive body parts. So I had to learn some things as well. But I was able to lean on my mom, and eventually, I remarried. And a lot of folks don't know. They think that we have these biological kids together. They don't know that. Right. But that was something that I was blessed with. But we just have to let folks know that these resources are needed. especially not only for men, but they look at us as always being a strong black man. Like you said, you should be able to go do this, not realizing that men need a hand up as well, or even just somebody to be concerned about it.
Right.
So this, and literally this is why I attend a couple of community meetings with just black men, a couple of barbershop talks and things like that. And I'm glad that even my friends, some of the guys that I grew up with, and some of the guys that I went to Shaw with, that now we can say, yeah, you doing okay? I love you, bro. I love you.
Right.
And be sincere about it, and not caring about who hears it or how somebody else feel about it.
You don't get that phobia about,
It's just good. And sometimes other men, and especially black men, need to hear it. But to get the resources, we have to continue to let folks know that these things are truly needed. And with the reentry program, things just once again, the bully pulpit to say, this is a program, this is a step, this is what we are doing. That's right.
Right.
Because me just coming here getting a tour today, I'm totally amazed. You giving guys suits, you giving guys food, you giving guys mental health, you giving them haircuts. Like, this is amazing. Like, why wouldn't anybody want to fund this program?
Right. And that's what we fund. It's one of the things that a lot of nonprofits struggle with.
Right.
But especially nonprofits that deal with men.
Right.
Because they'll say, these fathers, they should know how to do this, and they should be out doing this.
But when you're starting with zero,
exactly.
you have to start somewhere. Yeah. And even it's not. And I'm hoping that the men are not afraid to ask for a hand up.
Right. And,
you know what I'm saying?
That is the reason why we want to be able to put different locations of father the program in the city, in the community. That again, we're telling the men that it's okay to come in and get help. Right. And we're telling the community is telling the men it's okay to come in. Right. And the men are telling the community we need you. Right. And together we can make this work. And so, in closing in a few minutes, I really want to emphasize on, I was, like I said, you pointing with educator, I was as well. But fathers in school systems, and the school system, I had a conversation with another mayor candidate yesterday about this issue, about getting fathers involved in their kids' education. Yeah. How important is that as a former educator, is to get fathers involved in that? Oh, no, it's extremely important. But see, I was fortunate. I actually grew up, I went back and I taught at a school that I attended. So a lot of the kids that were in that school, I knew somebody in their family. Right. And I didn't have a problem going to somebody's house because I probably knew somebody somewhere in that family or somewhere down the line. Right. And I used to be able to walk to the school where I taught at. So the kids always saw me in the neighborhood. And this is the funny part. A lot of times, if I said something, I'm going to call your house, and I knew that the girl would be, a couple of the girls in particular, I say, you know what, but I know your uncle. I'm going to talk to your uncle. So it is important to get some type of male role model involved. Yes. It's definitely important to get some type of male role model involved. So I agree with that 100%. And even down to the, when I would talk to some of these students, if nobody would show up, I would go find somebody. I would have to go find somebody. And, it's important to have the fathers, but I do commend the strong mothers as well. Yes. Oh, yeah. Mother, you can't replace. Mother cannot be replaced. Absolutely not. And I tell my guys all the time, our kids, the best parent is both parents. Right. We need the mom and we need the dad. Right. Both of them working together. Right. And so I think we're going to have to wrap this up. Already? I guess I talk a lot. No. Time flew. I talk a lot. It's been a good conversation. I want to bring you back. Absolutely. I'm going to be doing some things. I want to do some more roundtables. Absolutely. We have more discussions. Absolutely. About drug use. Right. About homelessness. Right. About those things that affect our community. And so I would definitely be reaching out to you. I'm in. We're going to come back and do some more good stuff. I'm in. Now that we made each other, man, we're going to see a lot of them. And I have no problem with you being a Falcon. Don't worry about it. Okay. You want to get me? Not at all. So, Mr. Myron, Mr. Eugene Myrick, yep. Why don't you look into that camera right there and tell the people a little bit about who you are. You talked to me earlier about your campaign for mayor.
So this, I'm running for mayor because it's not about me. I don't run from my people. I run to them. Like I said earlier, I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. But when I see my neighbors are struggling, when I see people around me are struggling, I have to do something about it. And the way I'm going to do something about it is by stepping up and running for this position. So it's Eugene Myrick. My website is Myrick for Mayor. MyrickForMayor.com. It's Myrick for Mayor on all social media platforms. Make sure you take a look at the website and support. If you're in the Raleigh area, early voting starts on the 17th. We're going to be out there. We're handing out flyers. If you want to participate, feel free. But I'm here to stay. This is the beginning. This is just the beginning for me.
Okay, sir. Glad to have you again.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I truly appreciate it.
And we wish you well.
Thank you.
In your run. And to our audience, thanks again for watching our broadcast today. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Until we meet again, I'll say so long. Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member, a friend.
Please.
Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.afatherforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD.
If you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com or call us at 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew podcast streams Thursdays at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. To schedule a reverse book signing or to find out more information about how you can become a part of the programs you heard us mention today, please be sure to stop by our website as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Glenn Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now, I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families. Have you ever considered the value of your God-given gifts? What if I told you you were worth at least $1 million? Join us Sunday, October the 27th at Christ Worship Center for an incredible 2 services, 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. with Pastor Ricky Harold and Dr. Brenda Harold. My name is Dr. Glenn Warren, and I'll be sharing thoughts from the Word of God of the power of your talent, how to multiply your gift, sow into your future, and open doors you never thought possible. Whether you are in a business, ministry, or pursuing of your personal dream, your gifts and your talent are designed to grow, to bring you abundance, and just as equally importantly, be a blessing to others. This is your moment to unlock your potential. Invite your family and friends and come to discover the true value of the gifts God placed inside of you. You have the gift. Now it's time to multiply them. Look at your neighbor and tell them, I am worth at least $1 million.
Fathers Forever is a nonpartisan organization supporting fathers and families. We welcome all 2024 mayoral candidates to share their platforms on our podcast, fostering open dialogue on important